Aloha, welcome to the 11th episode of the 9th series of the Temple of Surf, the podcast. I really hope you like all the episodes released so far. I would like to thank the over 110,000 of you that listened and supported us until today. Today's guest needs no introduction if you are passionate of surf filmmaking. The legendary Jack McCoy is here with us. We discuss with him about surf, filmmaking, G-Land, and much more. Today we're going to talk about many things, and of course cinematography, videography, photography as well. But the first question that I have for you is the question that I ask everyone on the show is, in your opinion, what is the most important thing in surfing?
Having fun.
Yay. As simple as that, but not everyone has fun, unfortunately, in the water, right? Sometimes there are...
Just remember this. Remember this. Having fun is half the fun.
Exactly. There is no limit to it, right? Or double in your case, in your definition. Fantastic. So, and when you started to have fun with surfing back in the days, how did you discover surfing? I guess you were living in Hawaii, right?
I saw surfing in Waikiki and wanted to do it as a small boy. And my father took me surfing. And I read my first wave.
It's like everyone of us love at first sight, right?
When you ride your first wave, you become a totally different person.
Yeah.
No matter what your life trajectory or path is, in that moment on, surfing is always going to be in your life.
Yeah.
I would believe. If you're a real surfer, a lot of people don't get it. But pretty much people who do get it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure a lot of people here that are listening to the podcast are getting it because of course that stoke, that energy is the one that also drive us outside the water, right? Inside and outside the water is being a surfer is not only being a surfer in the water, is being a surfer also outside, isn't it? There is kind of a code of import
Absolutely.
of surf culture. Me, I love surfboards, of course. I couldn't I couldn't do otherwise. And I'm interested in your first proper surfboard, like the one that you not the one you started with, because maybe it was given to you by somebody, was maybe a second hand or whatever, or whatnot, but like the first one that you were dreaming that finally, I don't know, your family bought for you, or you were able to purchase by yourself, or was given by a friend.
Yeah, I got the bug. I got the surfing spirit. And then I started to do washing cars and mowing lawns to save up money. My parents said they'll help me buy a surfboard and they would pay half. And the board was $100. And trying to save $50 took me about 6 or 8 months to do it. And when I did, I ordered it from one of the very few surf shops that were in Hawaii, which was called Inter Island. This was in town in Waikiki. And there's a famous surfer shaper named Sparky who ran Inter Island. And I put my order in, and they said it's going to be 4 months before we can make your board. So with 4 months on the day, it was a Saturday, we lived on the other side of the island. My mom drove me over there. And when I got there, no one was there. We had to wait like an hour or something to get it. I'm just like, I can't wait to see my surfboard. And when I saw it, it had this big orange pigment streak on the bottom. The whole bottom was this really ugly kind of, like they took orange and ran down the whole board. And the guy said, yeah, we blew the glass job. And so we had to put this orange thing to cover the mistakes.
Uh,
And no, that's not what you ordered, but we can give you this one, or we'll make you another one. 4 more months.
no.
Um, give me that board. So that was my board that I really, yeah.
Amazing.
And I only lived in a place where the waves were horrible. We lived on the windward side of Hawaii, and onshore winds and only small waves. The biggest it ever got was about 3 feet. But it was, it was my first board. So I wrote it.
And what happened to that board? You gave it away?
It got this giant bubble on the deck. And this friend of mine helped me fix it. And, the thing was like, it was a dog. And I kept it in the house for years. And then finally one day, the thing was, I don't know, I might have given it to my brother or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay.
However, to this day, though, there's many surfboards in my life. One of my biggest disappointments in my life is not keeping some of the boards that I've had. And I'm happy to say that I have been able to, over the years, I've got over 50 surfboards
Wow.
in my garage. And I have not only my personal board, but boards that mean something to me. I have Andy Iron's first world title board.
Wow.
I have Rascal Silver Bullet. I have a board Joe Parkinson made for me after the thing. I have 2 of Rob Machado's Merricks that he brought to the first Billabong Challenge, that he won the first Billabong Challenge. I have Jerry Lopez's first surfboard he ever took to Bali.
Wow.
When I took him to Bali for the first time, I still have the board he took. When he sees it, he goes, that ugly board. Yeah. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But, to this day, I've got a beautiful board Dick Brewer made, chambered bolts. Dick Brewer made boards with 3 people, a guy named Bones, who did the woodwork, Jack Reeves, who did the glass work, and Brewer the shape. And that's probably the jewel in my crown of surfboard.
Ah, nice.
I don't have wall hangers. I have boards that are meant to be surfed or have been surfed.
Okay.
I've got a board. I just got a new board from Varuna. You know who Varuna is?
Varuna, no.
Surfboard. Google them.
Yeah, I will.
You don't have to do it now. You don't have to do it now. Just write it down. But Varuna is a company that started in Norway, and they came to Australia and they hooked up with Morris Cole. You know who Morris Cole is?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Well, Morris also had his son become a partner in the business, and they're making this board under the name Varuna. And what they do is they bought a whole bunch of land in Indonesia that they grow balsa with.
Ah, okay.
And and balsa grows like in 5 years. You can get balsa logs, right? And they pick the best balsa to make the boards, but they're made kind of like a ribbed. You know what a rib construction is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So
did.
it's like got a balsa cover, but the whole board on the inside is made of balsa as well.
Yeah.
And they only pick about 5% of all the balsa they grow. They pick the very best to make their surfboards. And if they don't use fiberglass or resins, they use non-toxic glues and, to work with and to seal it with. And the boards are amazing. Go look on their website.
Yeah.
The website.
I was looking at them while you were talking, and actually they are
Okay.
a piece of craftsmanship. Yeah, it's really like beautiful. How do they work with wood? Yeah, so very interesting.
So let's just end the conversation now. Now you're gonna be multitasking, watching something, besides listening to me. Interview's over.
No, it's no, don't make me cry.
Okay, no, it's okay. No, I'm glad you saw it.
I was curious.
Look into it because it's like Patagonia. It's a company that is trying to be
eco.
ecological sustainability is their key.
Exactly.
And that's really all we should be talking about. What I'd like to share with you is a couple of things. Surfrider Foundation is worldwide. Surfers need to join their local chapters and get involved in what I call, the climate breakdown. I don't call it climate change. I call it climate breakdown because that's what's happening. Climate's breaking down. And with it, it's creating all kinds of ecosystems that are falling apart or becoming extinct. You see, the earth is held together by, like a good surfboard, it's held together with certain materials that keep it intact. Well, the planet has these things that are helping it keep intact, but right now, all those little pieces are being stripped away and turning extinct. There's a great book now. It's called The End of Eden. Forget the guy's name. I'll get you his name before we finish here. But it's an incredible book about how there's things we can't even see that are disappearing. So the point is, I'm 75 years old. I started becoming an environmental activist when I was in high school.
Okay.
So I've been doing it for over 50 years.
Yeah.
Well, for over like maybe 60 years. I met a surfer. Do you know of the legendary Hawaiian surfer, John Kelly?
Yes, of course.
Okay, well, how can you know so much?
I tried my best, I'm not Matt Warshaw of the Encyclopedia of Surfing, right? But I like surf culture and surf history. And so I read, obviously for every single name, I don't know what they've done or whatever, but I saw the video clips and something, or I saw.
Let me take my hat off to you.
Thank you.
I want to acknowledge you this is why I'm enjoying this conversation, because a lot of people, I have to explain who John Kelly is, But John Kelly was a great Hawaiian waterman. And he lived at a place called Black Point, which is at the tip of Diamond Head. Have you been to Hawaii?
I've been only once and I got sick. Imagine, I traveled all the way to Hawaii and I got sick for a week. What to do?
But anyway, Black Point is right at the base of Diamond Head. The big mountain in Waikiki?
Yes.
But it's around the corner from Waikiki. So it faces the Molokai Channel. So it always gets a swell coming in that doesn't wrap into Waikiki. It just always has a wave there. And there's a good body surfing wave there. And after high school, I used to go body surf there. And I got to know John Kelly because he lived there and he body surfed all the time. And he was a great, among many things, he was exceptional. Helped develop the Hot Curl, one of Hawaii's first big wave riders. Built a board called a hydro board, which was quite crazy. But one of the things was he was against the Vietnam War, which in my time when I was growing up was the big deal. All my friends were getting shipped off to Vietnam and coming out with their asses shot. But he also started a thing called SOS, Save Our Surf. And in SOS, he was trying to stop the development in Waikiki, but was going to lose some surf breaks. So to make a long story short, he used to have this little printing machine under his house, and I would come in from body surf and help him print these things, and then I would take them to my high school. And I'd give them to my other friend, I'd give them to Jerry, or give them for their high school, and we spread the word that we're going to have a protest at the state capitol where we're going to do this sort of stuff. And in this period of time, it was all new. You know, environmental activism was just like protesting against the Vietnam War, which I also did. But it was something that I got involved with. And then John, in his lifetime, helped save 140 different breaks or fishing grounds or stop development in all kinds of incredible places. And 5 years after he died, a company, three guys in California started Surfrider based on John Kelly's example. And so from that point on, I'm really big time Surfrider guy.
Okay.
And I continue to do what I can to raise awareness for Surfrider. I also am involved with the website called Surfers for Climate.
Okay.
Are you familiar with this?
I heard it, and I'm not very familiar, but I heard the Surfer for Climate.
Join up. Anybody in the world can join up.
Okay.
Another environmental thing I'm involved with is the Plastic Pollution Coalition.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
No, that one I didn't hear.
Write it down. Write them down. Surfers for Climate.
Yeah.
Just write it so you can look after for me.
And Plastic Pollution.
Surfers for Climate. The Plastic Pollution Coalition. And that's run by Deanna Cohen. And Deanna Cohen is married to another good friend of mine, Jackson Brown, a musician. You know who Jackson Brown is?
No.
Google him too. Google him too.
Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. You know who John Kelly is, so I'll keep talking to.
I feel blessed.
Okay. Okay. And the other thing that I'm working actively with is called Take 3 for the Sea, where you go to the beach every day and take at least 3 pieces of rubbish.
Yeah.
And so at my age, and I have 3 grandchildren, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm worried for the future.
Of course.
I'm really worried for their future, the way the political world is, the way climate change is going, the way the governments are not accepting responsibility for helping fix it and stop it. And to me, this is more important than anything in the whole world right now, this time frame.
Definitely.
So with all due respect, I just try to encourage all surfers that, you know, the biggest mistake you can make is to believe someone else will fix it.
Yes. Yes.
Let me repeat that. The biggest mistake anybody can make right now is to believe that someone else besides you can fix climate change, is responsible for fixing it. So it's up to us as humans. That's the big deal.
We have to do all our part. And in effect, while you were talking, I was thinking about the fact that today the number of surfers are are increased, obviously, compared to 50 years ago when you started your activism outside the school, let's say. But and the fact that there are many, many surfers in the waters, obviously is a challenge. We talk about the lineup getting crowded and safety, but also if we can turn it positively, the numbers of people that can really make a difference increases, and so if a real surfer is the one that cares about the environment where he surfs, where he basically is in the water, right? And in all the elements that the beach, and so if we can all do a little thing in order to make the change possible, that definitely could be a vehicle of improvement for the planet, no, that is hosting us, right? So and host our
That's the objective.
future generation.
That is the objective. Let me ask you something. Where do you surf in Dubai?
In Dubai, there are a couple of breaks. Not they go, maybe the best is like a couple of meters high if the wind is good in the winter season. And yes, as I told you before, we're all looking forward the opening of the Kelly's Lake. That might not be the most eco-friendly. I don't know, in effect, what's the impact of a pool. I heard from many people that they have experienced that a pool consumes less water than a golf field, for instance. So I think the technology is quite improved. But nevertheless, yes, as Kelly later said, this is the best wave, even better than the one in US. So we look forward to try it. So
yeah, okay. So do you travel anywhere to go surfing? Do you go to France or?
yes. I like to surf in Biarritz. I like to surf in Italy, in Tuscany, nearby Viareggio, where you were saying before. I went to surf in Bali. Where did I go?
Okay. So you get around. So you surf. What sort of board do you ride?
My board is 9.2 Bing. The Bing, yes, the Levitator. That's my
It's a retro board. Retro.
retro, yes. Single fin, square tail. Okay, so let me ask you one thing about videography. So, or that anyway is a subject that you, of course, master. Okay, what does it take to be a great surf a filmmaker?
That answer is very easy. Hard work.
Okay, hard work, of course, and dedication, I guess. But how today, like today we are kind of bombarded by many things. Uh, our work is something, but you need to have kind of creativity, a vision, something that goes just beyond an image, right?
Correct.
And how did you?
So the point is that one, they have to have a passion of something, of what you want to do. For me, it started when I saw my first surf movie, and it changed my life a bit like surfing. I saw a Bruce Brown movie, and
Yeah.
the experience and what I got out of that, which is a really long story, which we don't have time for. But the point is that time, my passion to become involved with surf movies was planted. The seed was planted. And from there, I started putting up posters for the guys in California. He just made me one like that. He made me a 8-footer, which was a replica of the Coral Cruiser. You
Right?
know the story of the Coral Cruiser?
No, I don't know.
Okay, so what happened was Jerry and I grew up with Jerry Lopez. We were friends. But at that time, boards were going from 10 foot to 9.6, then down to 9 foot, and then to like 8 foot,
Mm.
you know. And then when the shortboard revolution came in, the boards in Hawaii, they were making like miniguns. And in Australia, they were making round kind of things called stubby boards. Now, Jerry, before he started writing and shaping miniguns full on, he was still writing like a 8'6" Malibu surfboard, like a longboard, had a big tail, wide tail. And one day he came back from surfing pipeline, the board kept spinning out. And he went into the shaping bay and he got a blank and he drew back in the day. How they measured the tail of a surfboard?
Yes. With
Okay,
triangulation.
what do they do? You go 1 foot up from the tail.
Yeah.
From the tail, 1 foot up, and the dimension across is how wide the tail is. And the tails that he was writing were 11 inches wide. And that's why the board kept spinning out. And so this one day, after spinning out all day, he went in and he cut out a Waimea gun at the time had a 9-inch tail. So he said, just for laughs, I'm going to make a 9-inch tail for my board.
Okay.
And he drew the outline, he cut it out, put the blank on the floor, and he stood on it. And he went, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to write this. I'll never write. Anyway, he finished the board, stayed up all night, glassed it, went back to pipeline the next day, and the board enlightened him to be able to get to the bottom and do the turn and not spin out and get into. And that board was called the Coral Cruiser
Okay.
because it was a coral colored board.
Nice.
Now, he made me a replica of that board. I broke my leg earlier this year. He sent it to me as a present. He sent me a Coral Cruiser. It's a gift.
For you to
So
get
I have
in
that.
shape. For you to get back in shape soon and to surf it, right?
I have a lung and heart disease that is I can't surf anymore.
Ah, okay.
So, and I get short of breath, but I can still talk.
I'm happy.
Okay.
I'm happy for that because you're talking with me today. So,
What's the next question?
okay, I have 6 very quick questions, and I just would like you to answer the first thing that comes up to your mind. I'm very cautious of your time. So, the best surfboard that you ever rode?
I have several favorites that I still own, but one would have to be an Alan Byrne deep channel. 2 of them, 2 Alan Byrnes that I always used to take to Grajigan. You know Grajigan?
Oh, what is it
Land.
that you got?
G-Land. They call it G-Land.
Ah, in G-Land. Okay, yes.
You see, it's like videographer or filmmaker. You're the videographer world when really, you're G-Land, but that's like videographer or Garajigan. That's the name of the spot. And it's only the Johnny Come-Latelys who call it G-Land. Okay, so it's deep channel. I always believed that the channels were about 10% faster surfboards than flat bottoms. And a lot of people rode them. And Alan Byrne was the master shaper. Kong was one of his riders. Derek Donner swears by him in big waves. Anyway, that would be my favorite. I still own those boards.
Oh,
I still have them.
amazing. Who was your favorite shaper of all time? Who is or was?
But they're all great. Who is the most influential? I have to say, Brewer.
Brewer, definitely. Legendary name and person, right? So again, never had the opportunity.
Yeah, but if I had to choose a shaper who I prefer, it would be Alan Byrne.
Okay. Okay. Because of the channel bottom you were referring before, or
Correct.
yeah,
correct. He was the father. Well, he got the idea from a couple other guys. He was like the third in line, but he developed them. The other guys died, and so he carried on their vision.
Okay. A personal question. Your favorite song? I know. 6 questions. Very. The first one that comes out to your mind, or kind of music.
Constellations with Kaukahi and Jack Johnson.
Okay. Thank you. Your favorite surf spot?
My place that I dream about always is Karachigan.
Rajigan. Yes, now I know. I will not do the same mistake twice. Okay. Favorite surfer of all time? I know that is a very wide answer, but in your opinion,
The Duke.
of course, yeah, legendary.
And then after that would be two guys, Joey Cabell and Paul Stroud.
Yes, I interviewed Joy Cabell for the podcast. Amazing interview.
And he's a lovely man.
Lovely, amazing. At the end of
He's one of the greatest surfers of all time, man. He was one of the greatest surfers of all time.
yes.
But so was Paul Stroud. But Joey had a little bit more. They were both good in big and small waves. Period.
Yeah.
And they were great watermen.
Waterman, yes. This is what I was about to say. Waterman, when you are like not only surfers, they are watermen. And Joy Cabell, amazing person. I had the opportunity to interview him. And at the end of the interview, he surprised me. He sang Midnight at Waikiki. It was so cool. I like that.
He sent you a song.
Yes. Midnight at Waikiki, I think is called the name of the song. Something like that. Absolutely stunning. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting lost in my questions. I asked this question to each one on the show. I don't know why I came up with this question, but I would like to know is unusual, your best relationship advice.
Oh man. One word. 2 words.
2 words.
Love
Yes.
and compromise.
Yeah, definitely. It's part of the game, right? We have to.
Well, you see, you are you and me and I am I. And she is her and she is she.
Yes.
We're all different. And that's what makes the world go round.
Yeah.
And what you have to do in relationships are not easy.
No.
I agree. They can be magic or they can be heartbreaking or whatever. I'm very fortunate. My relationship is pretty good. But it comes with here's a good bit of advice.
Tell me.
In relationships. Give up the right to be right even though you know you are right.
Yes, I see what you mean.
Give up the right to be right, even though you know you are right.
Yes, I think it's a good one. But you know, when I was talking with Eric Gordon, you know, he told me
I don't know him. Who is he?
the son of Gordon Smith.
Oh, yeah, okay. I don't know him.
Alessandro, if you want to know my best relationship advice is to do the dishes, because if a woman see you that you're doing the dishes, she will never disturb you, and she will appreciate the fact that you're doing the dishes. And in the meantime, you do the dishes, you learn about hydrodynamic that is good for shaping surfboards. So
I like that.
I think it was
I like that.
a good one. Just the last question before I leave you, and thank you so much for being with me today. Is in your life you had meeting with a lot of amazing surfers. Was there a meeting that was particularly meaningful for you?
The Duke.
You met the Duke.
Yeah.
Wow. When? How? Why?
When I was about 13 years old, and my father had a TV show, and it was like all the people who came to Hawaii to perform music or anything would be on his show to promote. He had the only one TV show in Hawaii was live. Everything else came from America.
Okay.
They had a live TV show of my father's, and every musician, everybody. I met Frank Sinatra and Harry Belafonte and, blah, blah, blah. But the day that the Duke was going to be on the show, I went with him.
Wow.
And he had a little room underneath this little place that was air conditioned that they kept the talent in, because the show was outside on the stage in this hot sun.
Mm.
And so they had air conditioning in this little tiny closet sort of room. And my dad goes, "Come on, let's go meet the Duke." When I go in there and he goes, "Duke, this is my son, Jack Jr." I hated to be called Jack Jr.
Okay.
Dad, reached my hand up. His giant hand shook mine, and he looks down at me and goes, "Aloha."
I know.
My dad had told him I was a surfer, right? And he goes, "So you're a surfer?" "Yes, Mr. Ka." Welcome. Well, that's good. Surfing been good to me. So keep surfing. And aloha to you.
Wow.
And I'd like to think that meeting transferred the spirit of aloha into me, because it wasn't until many years later that I realized what had happened.
Yes.
Because I had this thing where I had to try and do what Duke did. Duke, did you ever see Duke's card?
The car, the Rolls Royce? You mean the car?
Not his car. His
Huh?
card. When you
Oh,
meet
no, the
somebody,
card.
you
Oh.
give them
No, card I didn't see.
a card, and on the back he had his creed. You give it to people.
Ah, okay.
Try meeting people with aloha. You'll be surprised by the reaction of aloha with love. Try meeting your greeting or friends or nobles with aloha with love. I mean, he met kings and queens, and he said, it's a heartfelt gift from Hawaii to people that you can give. And so I tried to take that on to live aloha like the Duke. The other great meeting that I believe I'm just so honored and thrilled to have been able to spend time with was when I was doing A Deeper Shade of Blue, my film A Deeper Shade of Blue. And I met at Joey Cabell's 70th birthday, I hung out with Joe Quigg. And I showed Joe Quigg Derek Hine riding Finland. And it blew his mind. It blew his mind. This is a 80-year-old guy, right? Who's, I believe, one of the greatest surfboard designers and craftsmen and human beings on the planet. But he was so far ahead of everybody and everything, and he was so humble about it all. And to make a long story short, the 4 years that it took me to make A Deeper Shade of Blue, I'd go to Hawaii every time and I'd go spend time with Joe Quigg.
Oh, wow.
The stories and the experiences, you know. They used to swim out at Malibu on a 5-foot day, 4-foot day, and body surf from the point to the beach. Walk back up the beach and go body surf again. You can't, that doesn't happen anymore. But that sort of thing was pretty special. And that's Joe Quigg.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Mr. McCoy, it has been an absolute pleasure to speak with you today. We didn't talk so much about filmography, but I think we talk about life. We talk about things that matter, protecting the environment. We talk about friendship. We talk about journey, and I think life journey. And I'm very happy and blessed that I had the opportunity to talk with you today. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Goodbye.
Aloha.
Aloha. Hi, it's me again. I hope you enjoyed our today's episode. If you want to know more about us, please follow www.thetempleofsurf.com and all our social media. Mahalo!